that's true. Naked Palpatine.
Oh, you pick that one. Fresh out of the clone tank, nude Palpatine is my
Well, that's the first thing I think of when you say Dark Empire Palpatine.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Star Wars Expanded Universe, narrated by Disney, or Lucasfilm, whichever way you slice it, Legends. Today I have for you Book 8 of the 9-book series Legacy of the Force. This one by Karen Travis, Revelations. Also a great cover. Look at that. Look at my boy with his yellow eyes. This one's a little long. I don't think it needed to be 400 pages. I'll say that right off the bat. And the fatigue is starting to set in terms of wanting the series to be over. However, we have one book left. Whereas my fatigue set in around Destiny's Way, and yet it kept going. Actually, if I'm thinking about it, I really started to feel the fatigue by the James Luceno duology of New Jedi Order, but then it bounced back with Edge of Victory. But yeah, with 3 different plot points kind of going on. We have Darth Caedus working with Admiral Nathal as always, and a new addition, Admiral Pelion, because he wants to use the Moffs to help him win. Of course, Nathal and Pelion don't exactly see eye to eye with Caedus, and that's going to lead to some things. We've got Jaina Solo, who decides her best course of action is to go train with the Mandalorians to defeat her brother. So her whole plot point is with, Boba Fett and Murta Gev and all of them. So that's what she's doing. Ben Skywalker is just basically looking for real tangible evidence that Jason killed his mom and that he needs to be stopped. That's basically all that's happening throughout this book. But I loved it. I have a few issues with some things I'll get to in spoilers. But overall, I think the story's still really good. And again, the only time that the Mandalorian plot was irrelevant to the main plot was in Sacrifice, because it was just Boba Fett kind of finding his wife and curing his stuff that was killing him. And that was basically it. It had basically nothing to do with the main plot outside of that. But here it comes back and it matters. So, I enjoyed Travis writing about Mandos, and it was relevant to the story because it dealt, does Denning in the next book really use anything about Mandalorian techniques or anything? Not really, but at the same time, do you really have to? It's not really the point. The point is that her brother knows almost everything about her fighting style and what she can do, because they've trained for so many years. But Jaina doesn't know what Jason can do because Jason went away for a long time. So she has to have something that he's unprepared for. Even just some techniques that he's not used to her using will be a huge advantage to her in defeating him. But then it's also a matter of figuring out whether or not she wants to defeat him entirely. Because regardless of everything, this is still her brother. And in episode 6, Vader was redeemed. So why not Jason? But then again, how many more people have to die instead of just ending it? Surprisingly, Boba Fett's granddaughter asks Jaina not to kill Jason. And Ben has kind of been pushed to the back burner, sadly, for this last couple books. But at the very least, we see how resourceful he is. We see he's kind of the Spider-Man / Batman. He's got the humor of Spider-Man, despite what he went through and his losses, but the detectiveness of Batman. So, Very much still enjoy Ben, though we don't get enough with him here. But overall, I think this story is fantastic. I think there's a very controversial death in this book as well. There's 2 controversial deaths in this entire series, and this is being one of them that we'll get into in spoilers. But that's pretty much it, guys. I'm trying to figure out what else I can tell you, but I'm gonna leave it there. It's the 8th book in the series. Jason, of course, Darth Kaitis further downs his dark side persona. In fact, even by the end of it, he officially calls himself Darth Kaitis in front of someone. So he's, openly about it. So this is it, we're reaching the finale. Will Jason be stopped? How will this all end? We'll have to wait to find out. But now we're getting into spoilers. If you want spoilers, leave. But I will say, I do think it's well worth your time, minus some gripes. Mainly the pacing. Okay. So, first off, I feel like this is some massive error, but at the same time, I don't know if it is. I'm so lost on it. Because the prologue, and in some other places, people claim that Jason's a Sith. But 7 books in, he's never said so. We have no evidence. He's clearly a Darksider. I think that's kind of hard for any of the Jedi to deny, but a Sith is a specific ideology, and he has yet to say that he is that. So it actually seems like a massive plot hole, and this is actually a huge problem that people just know that. But at the same time, by the way this book ends, it could just be that they were assuming based on his actions, but that's still a bit of a stretch, and I'm going to call that a legitimate problem in this book. That some people, like Jaina and Han, just call him a Sith early on, even though he's never claimed to be one. We've had a lot of Dark Jedi. It doesn't have to be a Sith, so it's weird that they would assume that. So I will call him a massive diss on this book for that. Now, of course, Darth Kaitis wants the support of the Imperial Remnant, because the Confederation and the Galactic Alliance are basically pretty evenly matched. So you bring in the Empire, or what's left of it, you get a much stronger chance of winning. But then again, you would have to capitulate some worlds to the Empire to even have them interested. But of course, Gilead Pelion at 92 is still alive, so he's still around to kick and talk to Kaitis, and he doesn't like what he sees. And Han's complex feelings toward Jason. See, and again, people in the past have said how this is not like, Han's character. Why would he ever say that he'd want to throw his kid out of a window when he was born? Because he was angry in book 6. Because Kashyyyk was burning. But in book 7 and book 8 here, he says how he still loves his son. Doesn't want to put him down. It's his boy. But what can he do? And it's really good. Also, Kaitis reflects on his true sacrifice. And he thinks about it, and it wasn't Mara, not even really Ben, even though he loves Ben dearly, and is sad that Ben lost love for him. But ultimately, it's that through all of this, Tino Ka and Alana stopped loving him. And that was his true sacrifice through it all. And then Travis basically makes the point that I was making back in Inferno, that Jason and Darth Kaitis, there's a separation in it. Those are 2 separate entities, even if they're the same being. I already talked about it in my Inferno review, but Travis basically agrees with me. Bevan trains Jaina, and this is just really cool to, kind of see her mess up a little bit, despite the fact that she's the Sword of the Jedi. And show, there are other ways. People get mad at Travis for making Mandos be cool, but it's they fought during Tales of the Jedi. It's not like it was just Exar Kun and Ulick beating up all the Jedi. There were a lot of Jedi back then. It was Mandalorians holding their own, because they can. It is a little heavy-handed, but it is still true that it's Jedi, Sith, and Mandos. Those have been 3 consistent power struggles throughout history, at least before Supernatural Encounters came out. You know, the only example of a full-out war that did not involve a Mando or did not involve Jedi and Sith was the Vong War. That's it. That is the only war in the history of the Star Wars Expanded Universe, insofar as we're not counting supernatural encounters, because of course there's all of that stuff going on. Then you just have Jedi and Sith and Mandos all the time throughout history. So it was cool to see them train and see to get her to learn some new things that she didn't know before. Also, I've talked about this back when I, reviewed Republic Commando, but yeah, the Mando family dynamic is very enticing. It's kind of cult-like, but there's a very strong sense of, like, camaraderie and community and wanting to be a part of something like that. Even says here that Mandos are compulsive adopters. They like adopting people. They like adding to the ranks, not for necessarily fighting, but just for the big family that you can have by doing that. And then there's a huge Expanded Universe thing that some people hate because they don't like this character, but oh my god, they bring Dala back because Colleen calls in a favor, and oh my god, we haven't seen her since Planet of Twilight. We didn't see anything she did during the Vong War. It's just great to see her again. Luke and Ben talk about the original trilogy era and the more nuance behind that, because, he's looking at this war, which is a very gray war. It's not black and white, but he looks back on the OT and he goes, sure, there was Palpatine, there was Vader, there was Tarkin, but there was also many people just doing their job, just trying to earn a living wage to pay for their kids' school or whatever. But Luke was 18 and thought he knew better and was better, and anybody who didn't join the rebellion just must be a bad guy. How many people did he kill in his 3 years before redeeming Vader, before meeting Yoda? How many people did he just slaughter down because they were the enemy? And so that was a really interesting conversation. Hold on a second. Right, and Dala's love from Planet of Twilight was barely murdered by the Moths. So Dala definitely has a grudge with the Imperial Remnant. Dala also asked for the Mandos to help in this big, raid near the end of the book, and this became a whole other thing with people online, but we'll get to that. But here's the big thing of, this entire book. Gilead Pelion dies. But he was 92. He was going to die soon anyway. Honestly, this is the best way he could have gone out. The book addresses this, but also it's just true. Pelion's not the type of character you want to just die of old age. It's not what he would want. If he was going to go out, going like this is probably the way he'd rather go. Defiant. Staying true to what he believes. A soldier's death. Now, of course, the thing is, Dehri Vela did it, but I'm going to say shut the frick up, but I said the real thing, so I cut it out. No, but seriously, I've already explained it. I think it works. It's not what I would do, but it's okay that it's happening, that she's becoming the Sith. So yeah, she did it. Okay. Again, if you don't like it, I can't change your mind, whatever, but just shut up. Okay, so she did it. It furthers her path down the Sith path, Pelion went out in the best way possible for his character, with respect and reverence. So, shut up. We could have just not seen him die at all, sure. We could have not seen anything after episode 6, but we did, so nothing is necessarily needed. We didn't need Star Wars in the first place, but we got it. So the argument, well, we didn't need any stories after. Okay? I don't care. Nobody cares. Enjoy something or don't enjoy something. Move on. But that was probably the biggest thing about this book, because Sacrifice, both by Travis, we had Mara. And now we have Pelion, both people introduced by Zahn in the Thrawn trilogy. But again, it adds weight to the series. There's not too many deaths in the series. It's not like New Jedi Order. There's only the 2. But honestly, Pelion was old anyway. He wasn't, even if he didn't die, he would have stopped being a part of stories moving forward, regardless. And this is the best way he could have possibly gone out, in my opinion. Maybe not by Tahiri, if you want to make that argument. But going out as a soldier is the perfect way for him to go. So the Kaitis Mando defense, because some Mandos beat him up. A little bit. And ignore all context. So, Kaitis has been using his battle meditation and several other force techniques to keep the fight going, to keep his soldiers in line, to keep everything happening. And that's taxing. The force is taxing. He's been using it for like hours. And now he's losing. And he needs to go save Tahiri. Tahiri's injured. He's trying to heal Tahiri while because she'll die if he doesn't. And on top of that, Mandos show up. There's only so much energy you can divert to everything. So yeah, Mandos beat him up a little bit. A Mando gets close enough to his leg to shoot him point blank. That's gonna hurt you. Doesn't matter if you're Sith Lord or Jedi or whatever, it's gonna hurt. Like if somebody took off Vader's helmet and pointed a blaster to his head, and Vader had been crushed by a building, yeah, it's gonna hurt. Now, sure, do I like that Kaitis was able to be beaten up slightly by some Mandos? Not really. Travis is allowed her own vices, and she makes up enough excuses to where it's okay with me for why they could do that. But, oh my god, this series sucks because Travis loves her Mandos so much as if they just completely obliterated Kaitis, which is just not what happened. So just read the story in context. Stop making up lies to fit your narrative. Oh my god. It's so hard for people to do these days. And then Kaitis' confession. He blatantly tells Shivu, however the fudge you're supposed to say that officer's name, I am Darth Kaitis, a Sith Lord. But Shivu is recording it. So now Ben and Jaina and Han and Leia and Luke have confirmation that he is indeed that needs to be stopped. And that he killed Mara. Of course, there's nuance there because they learned that he said, yeah, she came chasing after me. I did what had to be done. Which Jaina didn't like to hear because it would have been easier if he was just like this irredeemable monster who had attacked this innocent Mara. But instead, you have Mara going after him. It makes it a little bit more complicated. But regardless, they know that he killed Mara now. So Luke is definitely not going to go after him. It has to be Jaina. But again, this is what makes me confused about the contradiction at the beginning. Because people seem to assume he's a Sith. But then here they're like, oh. So again, I have to, I guess, assume that this was just an assumption on their part more than actually knowing. But it felt like a contradiction because for 7 books in, no one's known that he was that at all. So, it's a bit much. But I guess it's okay. I don't know. Like I said, the book is a bit long. There's a lot of interesting discussions, a lot of good things in it. But the pacing is a little off. I do feel it's a little too long, and my fatigue is setting in. But luckily, we only have one more, so I won't be like, when will this end? Because it's ending next time. Well, that's pretty much it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give a thumbs up. Strength up to the ton. And I'll see you in the finale.